But rain isn't the only source of water that the Zapotecs had access to. I'm here in Hierve el Agua, which means boiling water, a place of boiling water. The water doesn't actually boil here, but it looks like it does. It's actually not that warm. I just put a thermometer in there. It was 20 degrees Celsius or about 70 Fahrenheit. But it's water, and everybody needs water. The Zapotecs noticed that this water bubbles up, and as it flows down the side of the mountain, it leaves mineral deposits. Pretty much turns everything into stone. And so they started manipulating this source of water. As you can see, there's a big long line leading right through the middle. And all around me there are canals. Canals that lead from here to here, from here to here, here to there, and also in this direction. Here's another old brick wall made of stacked stones. You can see that they were loose, just stacked on top of each other. And this created a sort of an aqueduct on top. And then over time, as the water flowed through it, it sort of cemented it and made a sealed canal system. Normally, the water creates formations like this. That's not very useful to a farmer. So what they did was just build walls, created these pools, basins, a reserve of water. You can see that there's more canals here and going over there. They actually go all the way down the entire mountainside. Down below, the channels continue, and they continue to be cemented as the water flows through them, rich in all these minerals. And down at the bottom, where it's a bit flatter, they made some terraces, and on those terraces they would grow their crops. If you come here, you've got to be very careful, because it's very slippery, and there's a giant cliff there. You should also watch out for the bees in the changing rooms. Over here you can see that there's been some sort of basin made, a little tub. And this could have been used in rituals, because of course this was a very sacred place to the Zapotecs. In a place where there's one rainy season and one dry season, there's many months when it's dry. And sometimes there's even droughts. So having this resource was of tremendous importance to the Zapotecs. And it's thought by archaeologists that it would have been of ritual significance too. This was a sacred space. Over here you can see some of the original walls. You can see that it's just stones that have been stacked up to form a wall. And then over time, naturally, it's been cemented in place. See, it continues over there. And the end result is this great reservoir. Very useful for irrigation. It's thought that this practice of building these walls and managing the water in this way started some 2,500 years ago. It's utterly unique within Mesoamerica because this structure is utterly unique. There's one other petrified waterfall somewhere in Turkey, but it's a great rarity of nature. And lots of tourists come here to appreciate that, to take photos for social media. And if you do that, then also don't forget to notice these amazing Zapotec walls and think about the importance of this place culturally and historically. Here you can see that this area has been walled off with a piece of stone. And finally over here, you can see another place where the water comes out. You're not supposed to touch it, not because it's hot. It's not hot, but they just don't want anyone to interfere with nature or stick garbage in there. Over there you can see another cascade, another frozen waterfall. It's much like this. And together, between the two of them, they were able to irrigate a great portion of the valley below. It's all covered in forest now, and it hasn't even properly been explored all the way by archaeologists. They know that there's some terraces there and some structures, but a lot of it's just still hidden underneath the trees. Like many ancient civilizations, the Zapotecs were masters of irrigation, and many of the Zapotec sites feature some of the earliest irrigation canals in all of ancient Mesoamerica. What can you do with irrigation? Well, you can grow this tree. Behind me is the tree of Tule, and it is the largest, the widest tree on the planet Earth. It measures some 14 meters across, about 58 meters in diameter. It's an Agua tree, also called a sabina. This tree normally grows in a swamp. And even to this day, there are all kinds of water canals and irrigation systems around here because the tree needs 1,000 liters of water per day to stay alive. The tree itself is probably some 1,500 years old, perhaps 2,000 years old. Not really sure because they don't want to cut it down to count the rings. But it was definitely here during the height of the Zapotec civilization. Now that I think about it, I don't think I've ever lived in an apartment that was as wide as this tree.